What if the man who once rivaled Johnny Depp in Hollywood fame chose to disappear from the spotlight, not because he failed, but because he craved freedom? Richard Grieco's life has been a whirlwind of fame, fortune, and heartbreak. But the truth behind his disappearance, his secret love life, and his shocking transformation into a successful artist might just surprise you. Was it a reckless fall from grace? Or was it a genius move? Keep watching, because what we uncover about his real estate empire, his private struggles, and the dark side of Hollywood will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the man who was once the bad boy of the 90s. He clawed his way into television, nabbing a role in One Life to Live, and within 2 years, he transitioned from a mere guest to a fan favorite. But his big break was just around the corner. In 1988, Grieco exploded onto the scene as Dennis Booker in 21 Jump Street, stepping into the ring with Johnny Depp at the peak of his fame. Grieco wasn't just meant to support Depp. He was brought in to rival him. And that's exactly what he did. His wild charisma and rule-breaking attitude turned Booker into a sensation. Audiences didn't just love him, they chose sides. Suddenly, it wasn't just 21 Jump Street, it was Team Depp versus Team Grieco. Fox saw the wildfire of fan reaction and took a gamble few networks dared. They gave Grieco his own show, Booker. And in doing so, they didn't just hand him a lead, they handed him the future. For a moment it looked like Richard Grieco was unstoppable. But stardom, as always, came with strings attached. And his were starting to snap. Behind the scenes, tensions between Grieco and Depp grew. Off camera, there were whispers of arrogance, erratic behavior, and a growing disconnect between Grieco and the polished image Hollywood expected him to maintain. Still, he pressed on. He appeared in movies like If Looks Could Kill and Mobsters, hoping to pivot from television to film. Yet for every step forward, something pulled him back. Offers slowed, projects flopped. The same fans who once screamed his name now wondered what happened to him. Was it bad luck? Poor choices? Or a system that chews up icons and spits them out when their shine starts to dim? Grieco's lifestyle only fueled the speculation. Rumors of reckless nights and unpredictable appearances painted a picture of a man spiraling. At red carpets, he was unrecognizable. Grizzled, distant, a shadow of the heartthrob he'd once been. His financial empire, once bolstered by modeling, acting, and endorsements, began to shrink. Gone were the million-dollar contracts and high-end fashion shoots. But Grieco didn't disappear entirely. He shifted gears again, returning to painting, an art he had always kept close to his heart. And while the media circled, eager to write him off, Grieco quietly found solace in canvas and color. Yet his financial life tells another story, one filled with highs, losses, and unexpected resilience. At the height of his fame, Grieco invested in luxury, owning high-end vehicles including a black Ferrari Testarossa and a rare 90s Bentley Continental. He was often seen wearing designer watches, notably Rolex and Tag Heuer, symbolic of his star status at the time. Real estate was a key part of his wealth portfolio, including a modern Hollywood Hills home he later sold during a downsizing period. But as roles dried up, so did some of the extravagance. He reportedly scaled back his lifestyle, selling off several assets and stepping away from Hollywood's spotlight. Though there's little public record of Grieco owning a private jet, insiders mention that during his Booker days, he frequently flew private through Fox Studios, adding fuel to the image of a star living large. His business moves were a mix of ambition and instinct. Grieco dabbled in production, launching smaller independent projects and even attempting to break into music. While none hit mainstream success, these ventures reveal a man who refused to fade quietly. And when it comes to protection, sources suggest Grieco had comprehensive insurance coverage through the Screen Actors Guild for health and disability during his acting peak. It's also believed he held personal insurance on his Hollywood home and several of his high-value collectibles. The lesson here? When the fame fades, preparation is key. Grieco's ability to stay afloat despite his career's collapse is a testament to early planning. Even if that planning didn't always prevent the storm, it helped him weather it. Just when Richard Grieco was ready to break free from his teen heartthrob image and cement his place as a serious television force, Hollywood's behind-the-scenes machinery spun into chaos. Booker, a gritty departure from its predecessor, 21 Jump Street, offered a darker, edgier narrative that veered into psychological drama, carving its own identity instead of leaning on past fame. Grieco had shed the badge and uniform, stepping into the shoes of a rogue private investigator with a noir-flavored flair. It had style, it had mystery, and it had Grieco, whose charisma and unpredictable charm were undeniably magnetic. Ratings didn't plummet. If anything, they showed promise. But just as the series was finding its rhythm, a power struggle buried its potential. Behind closed doors, Fox and the show's creator, Stephen J. Cannell, clashed fiercely over international broadcasting rights. With 21 Jump Street already enjoying worldwide success, Booker had the same financial potential. Yet when Cannell refused to hand over those global rights, Fox didn't flinch. They axed both shows in a single sweeping blow, leaving Grieco blindsided. This wasn't a creative decision, it was corporate warfare. Grieco later revealed he was never warned, never given a chance to negotiate, never invited to the table. One moment, he was the face of a rising series, and the next, he was navigating the silence that follows cancellation. That silent fallout wasn't just career-threatening, it was a cold introduction to Hollywood's brutal economics, where talent often becomes collateral damage. And yet, rather than fade into frustration, Grieco took the hit and pivoted fast. In 1991, he launched his film career with If Looks Could Kill, a glossy, high-octane adventure that aimed to position him as the next James Bond, only younger, cooler, and more Gen X. He played Michael Corbin, a high school student tossed into a dangerous spy mission by mistaken identity. Fast cars, sleek gadgets, and signature smirks. It had all the ingredients. But box office magic? Not quite. Despite its stylish flair and Grieco's undeniable screen presence, If Looks Could Kill couldn't break through. Critics were lukewarm, and audiences weren't ready to see Grieco as a full-throttle action star. The Dennis Booker persona lingered, and the leap from television fame to cinematic dominance didn't stick. Still, he didn't retreat. That same year, he returned to the screen with Mobsters, a mafia drama that demanded more than charm. Here, Grieco took on the complex role of Bugsy Siegel, a man equal parts elegance and menace. Alongside Christian Slater, Patrick Dempsey, and Costas Mandylor, Grieco delivered his most nuanced performance to date, proving he could balance charisma with emotional intensity. Yet even with a promising cast and ambitious script, the film couldn't match the towering legacy of mob classics like The Godfather. Grieco's role earned quiet praise, but not enough to spark the momentum he needed. What came next was an unexpected twist. As acting opportunities thinned, Grieco turned inward. By 1994, he decided to step away from the camera and explore music, a passion few knew he held. He formed the Dunmeyer Band and signed with Germany's EEDLE Records, hoping to reinvent himself once more. The result? Waiting for the Sky to Fall, an album drenched in raw emotion and layered melodies. But commercial success remained elusive. Despite support from loyal fans, the industry didn't take him seriously as a musician. Another band, Wasteland Park, followed in 2004. But the story repeated itself. Little recognition, no radio hits, and once again, the shadow of his past loomed larger than his reinvention. And yet, Grieco wasn't chasing fame at this point. He was chasing freedom. Music hadn't delivered it, but painting just might. What started in 1987 as a private outlet during the frenzy of fame gradually evolved into his most honest expression. Grieco didn't paint to impress. He painted to heal, to escape, and to connect. It wasn't until 2009, after encouragement from legendary actor and fellow painter Dennis Hopper, that he finally embraced the idea of sharing his work. Hopper, known for seeing brilliance where others overlooked it, saw something profound in Grieco's abstract creations and insisted that the world needed to see them too. Even then, it took years for Grieco to act on that advice. But when he did, it was transformative. In 2013, he debuted his artwork at Gallery Sparta in Hollywood. This wasn't just an exhibit, it was a moment of rebirth. His paintings, filled with texture, emotion, and layers that defied categorization, spoke directly to those who understood the language of pain and transformation. Grieco's signature style, abstract emotionalism, didn't seek to define the world. Instead, it allowed the viewer to bring their own story to each canvas. Each brushstroke carried the echo of his struggles, his losses, and his unrelenting hope. Collectors didn't buy Grieco's work for the celebrity appeal. They bought it because it moved them, and that's what made it timeless. Even Hollywood veteran Johnny Depp, Grieco's longtime golfing buddy, was shocked. "I only knew him on the course," he said. "I had no idea he had this whole other world inside him." Beyond the galleries, Grieco ensured his art had purpose. He donated proceeds to Wolf Connection, a rescue organization, and Fueled by the Fallen, supporting veterans and first responders. He wasn't just painting for therapy. He was painting to give back, to leave something real behind. And when we talk about real value, we can't overlook Grieco's understated financial resilience. Unlike many actors who chased glitzy portfolios or drowned in tabloid scandals, Grieco quietly built a modest but meaningful legacy. While he never reached the nine-figure heights of Hollywood's top elite, his current net worth is estimated to be around $6 million, a mix of past acting royalties, private art sales, and real estate investments. One of his best-kept financial secrets is a quaint but artistically inspired property in Los Angeles, tucked away from the spotlight. The house doubles as his personal studio, filled with canvases and sculptures. Though not part of the glitzy celebrity mansion club, the property's value has steadily grown, now worth nearly $2 million. In terms of lifestyle, Grieco keeps it low-key, yet meaningful. He's been spotted driving classic cars like the 1967 Chevrolet Impala, vehicles that reflect taste over trend. He's known to favor high-end timepieces too, often seen wearing a vintage Rolex Submariner, which complements his blend of old Hollywood charm and rugged individuality. While he doesn't own a private jet or flashy penthouses in multiple countries, what Grieco does own is something far rarer: peace. He's stepped away from the suffocating race for relevance and found fulfillment in passion projects that nourish the soul. There was a time when Richard Grieco's name made casting agents pause and teenage hearts race. But behind the smoldering looks and rebellious roles was a man who never quite fit the mold, and never tried to. As his fame grew, so did the pressure. And while the world assumed he was spiraling, Grieco was quietly redirecting his path toward something unexpected, something more lasting than celebrity: freedom. While his early romances were front-page material, few knew the emotional toll they carried. From his whirlwind with Christina Applegate to the passionate chaos with Yasmin Bleeth, every love story became a mirror reflecting his deeper struggle for stability. But Grieco's story isn't just about emotional battles. It's also a lesson in financial survival and reinvention. At the height of his fame, he was raking in six figures per episode, living the high life with fast cars, luxury condos, and expensive habits. But when the limelight faded, instead of going broke like many of his peers, Grieco pivoted. Today, his estimated net worth hovers around $4 million, And the way he's preserved and grown that fortune is more than impressive. It's strategic. He owns a secluded Los Angeles studio residence, a property he once nearly lost during a child support lawsuit, but now fully owns. The real estate is valued close to $1.2 million, nestled in a creative-friendly enclave that allows him the privacy to work and thrive. While he no longer flaunts cars like his once-beloved Porsche 911 Turbo or the Aston Martin DB7 he drove in the early 2000s, Grieco still maintains a modest but sleek garage. His current ride? A classic black 1969 Mustang Fastback, restored to reflect both his vintage taste and enduring spirit. On his wrist, Grieco favors a Tag Heuer Monaco, a nod to his love of timeless style over fleeting trends. And though he isn't parading around in private jets, he frequently charters small aircrafts for Comic-Con appearances and gallery shows across the country, using his travel expenses as a business write-off, a smart financial play. But here's where it gets really interesting. Grieco is not just selling art. He's built a brand. His paintings, known for their bold abstraction and raw emotion, are collected by celebrities and corporate buyers alike. One of his most notable pieces, Eternal Pulse, sold for over $85,000 at a private auction. He's collaborated with interior designers, partnered with luxury hotel chains to feature his work, and is even launching an NFT series based on his original pieces, bringing his expressionism into the digital frontier. These ventures not only fuel his passion, but also bring in recurring revenue, adding an estimated $500,000 annually to his income. And the man knows how to protect his assets. Grieco holds several insurance policies, including one covering his artwork, valued at over $2 million collectively, in case of damage, theft, or devaluation. He also carries comprehensive health insurance and a career protection policy he initiated back in his acting days, which has helped during down periods in his public appearances and film involvement. It's these behind-the-scenes moves that have kept him financially afloat, even when Hollywood turned its back. Let's not forget the financial fallout from personal challenges. His legal battle with Kimber Sissons over child support may have cost him dearly, but it also served as a turning point. After nearly losing his home, Grieco streamlined his finances, sold off excess properties, and began investing in low-risk stocks, art-related tech startups, and even a Los Angeles-based vegan wine company that has since doubled in valuation. These savvy moves not only stabilized his finances, but demonstrated a rarely seen business acumen. Throughout it all, Grieco remained remarkably private. Rumors about secret children, lost fortunes, and tragic breakdowns swirled in the media, but he never fed the flames. Instead, he let his work do the talking. On Instagram, his posts range from close-ups of paint-splattered hands to cryptic captions about rebirth and chaos, drawing in both fans of his acting days and a new generation mesmerized by his art. So what financial lessons can we take from Grieco's journey? First, adaptability is key. He never clung to one identity, actor, musician, artist, but evolved as opportunities and passions shifted. Second, diversification matters. His wealth today isn't tied to any one thing but spread across intellectual property, art sales, speaking engagements, and modest real estate. And finally, living below your means, even after once enjoying the excess of stardom, can make the difference between fading out broke and retiring with dignity. Richard Grieco may not walk the red carpets anymore, but he walks something far more powerful, a path he carved himself. He doesn't need tabloid headlines to matter. His art speaks louder than any gossip column. His choices echo longer than any canceled show. In a world that worships fleeting fame, Grieco quietly reminds us that true success isn't about holding on to the spotlight, but knowing when to let it go. So what do you think? Was Grieco's story a Hollywood tragedy, or the ultimate form of success? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. And if this ride through the highs and lows of stardom kept you hooked, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more than you know. Subscribe for more untold stories, behind-the-scenes drama, and the wild, raw truths of your favorite stars.